guys with their nails done.
This is not the video wherein I fight all those people who oppose that Warframe is a dead game. This is also not a video wherein I'll try to be a white knight for digital extremes. I ain't made for that kind of shit. This is all about facts, on what is truly happening in this game, and why Warframe is not dead. Hello team, and welcome to another video, wherein your noob leader will just talk about his personal opinion. But before we start, I would humbly ask you to like this video if you enjoy it, and subscribe if you would love to see more content from our channel. I'm trying to hit 200k subscribers by the end of this year, and I was hoping that you could help me achieve that goal. Okay, let's dive into the topic at hand. Warframe is not dead. Why would a game be dead when it has a very large player base? To top that, this game is across all platforms. It's not only on PC, but it also expands its reach on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and most recently, it branches out on the Nintendo Switch. On a rough estimate, Warframe now has over 50 million registered users across all platforms. You might be a desktop user, and often go to Steam Analytics, and then, you might see that the game only has 20k plus users playing it, and then go jump into conclusion that it's already a dead game. Well kiddo, you clearly don't see the big picture. Not all users on PC installed Warframe through Steam. There is a couple of PC master race that install the game manually, and, never forget our console brothers and sisters. In addition, the way digital extremes are releasing updates to all platforms comes with a benefit, but can also be disadvantageous sometimes. Beneficial because they can ensure that there will be people playing the game always. They usually release their updates on PC before consoles. This means that when the fire becomes an ember on the PC platform, they don't need to worry, as there are those console players who are craving to play the new content on their respective platforms. However, I just don't like the PC gets all the bugs and fixes first. When a new update comes, we can expect that PC users will be the ones either enjoying a bug, or being absolutely pissed about it. Also, fixes and changes can be annoying sometimes. Just for example, you are having fun with a certain setup, then suddenly the next day, digital extremes will just say sorry chief, that was just a bug and not intended. But that's not all. The way that they make the content an ultimate grind fest at first, then they would change it to become a beginner-friendly mode later is kind of annoying too. PC users are like VIPs, that have the privilege to break the game early, but are also like time bombs, who are just waiting to explode because of the burnout from grinding all those stuff. Then we realize that it was all for nothing after a few days. That's one reason players are complaining right now. The game is not dying, and hell, there are lots of content to explore. It's just, the grind is too much of a burden that most players burn themselves out. And on top of that, we then ask ourselves in the end, was all of that worth it? Did I get a reward that gave me satisfaction in the end? You see, that's the problem with the two new updates. Warframe is not dead because there are a lot of things to do, but it became a total grind fest that players are experiencing burnout. Farming Kuva leeches is a grind, and then, Railjack came, which made the grind never ending. Don't get me wrong, I know that the other past updates were also created this way, that you have to spend some time collecting all the needed stuff, but leeches and Railjack are too much work in my honest opinion. Especially that you can only get some of the best Railjack parts based on RNG, and you need to dive in a mission over and over again, just to get the exact combination of paras and mods for you to kill a lich. However, I can't deny the fact that leeches have way better rewards than the Railjack missions. They are better since you can get some interesting variation of Kuva tech weapons. It's not much, but the difference in stats creates new possibilities to have fun with a buff Kuva weapon. The Railjack rewards, however, are kind of underwhelming in its current state. You grind for high-end Railjack parts for what? Just to kill Grineer spacecraft faster? That's another thing that kept players away from Railjack missions. Once they have all the intrinsic and parts for their Railjack, they lost interest because there's nothing in the space worthy enough to challenge your Railjack. I just really hope that in the future, I will be one of those players who will say that all my time grinding for those Railjack parts are totally worth it. As currently, I don't see the point of having an overpowered spaceship. Also, I would address those people that are complaining that Railjack is too hard when doing it solo. When the update was released, Digital Extremes specifically said that Empyrean missions are not meant to be soloed. There will be a future update for that, which could possibly allow you to use your converted Kuva leeches as crew members. Will it be a fun update? I don't know yet, but it's safe to say that it would be towards those people who prefer doing missions by themselves. Another thing that's lacking in the game right now is a noteworthy endgame content. One factor for endgame content is the level of difficulty, and one way of making a game mode difficult is raising the level of enemies to insanity, to the point that you can create bullet sponge, one-shotting monsters. Warframe already has that game mode, in the form of survival missions. The level scaling of this game mode is insane, that you can even go against level 1000 plus enemies in this type of mission. However, despite all the damage mitigation, and huge damage that an enemy has, they are still not a match for the players, as there are Warframe abilities that can literally make all those feats worthless. Just take for example Ash. This frame got everything. He can strip enemy armors while being invisible. Without armor, enemies are useless and could be one-shotted using a good weapon. And farm or worst, enemies just only do the basic thing, attack when they see the player. No other abilities, no special attacks that will threaten you. Warframes are just too powerful for dumb enemies like this, especially if you have collected all the mods, weapons and arcanes. It feels like you are the villain of this game, murdering a bunch of already wasted enemies, and taking their loot easily. Honestly, I feel like Warframe really needs better endgame content, and in fact, they have one potential game mode that could be converted to an endgame mission. I'm talking about the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. Okay, before you go bashing me on the comment section, please hear my thoughts for a couple of minutes. Just like a normal survival mission, the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught also has insane level scaling. The further you move up, the higher the enemy level gets. But, unlike a normal survival mission, this game mode will let you face all the different factions in the game, except for sentients of course. It has it all. Orokin, Corpus, Infested, and as well as those Grineer losers. This will make it challenging for players, since you need to inflict the correct element to kill a certain faction, and, when enemy level scales, using a gas build on armored units will not be as effective as using corrosive. This will also allow players to team up, so they can divide the roles and support each other to dive further into the other realms. But since we are talking about endgame here, we should try to tweak Elite Sanctuary Onslaught a little. It would be challenging if, in every 10 rounds or so, you'll be facing a faction boss. I'm talking about those bosses you see on the star chart. We only see these bosses scratching the surface of Warframe's Onslaught missions. What I would like to see is how these bosses will be, given with insane level scaling. But squad leader, what's the point of doing this? Why fight bosses in Elite Sanctuary Onslaught only to be rewarded with relics, vandal parts, or just simple effects that will make your frame glow? That's the other thing that we need to add in this new Elite Sanctuary game mode: better rewards, new cosmetics, new arcanes, just something new that would make the players interested in diving into this mission. Honestly, I don't have any great ideas yet on what could possibly be considered as better rewards other than the things I've mentioned. So, if you have a better opinion, kindly write it in the comment box below. What rewards would you like for this hard mode of Elite Sanctuary Onslaught? Deep inside, I would like to have a reward that is not an arcane, nor mods, nor cosmetics. I would like something new and interesting, something that would make me want to play the game every day. I have discussed this before with my friends, but they just said that it would not be possible. Well, screw being impossible, I'll share it to you lads. So, what I'm thinking are new weapons. Some of the faction bosses on the star chart drops weapons as rewards, and I'm thinking that we could also do this on the new Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. Digital Extremes could also make new weapons as rewards, after players have slain a faction boss. But these are not just normal weapons. These weapons should be powerful enough to oppose the new faction bosses in the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. Also, it should have some extra features like a gun that grants wide healing once you use its alternate fire, or a gun that can take out the damage mitigation of a certain boss. Wait up, partner, this would make the game unbalanced and totally broken. Well, you already did, the moment you gave us so much power that no one in the universe can oppose us. The game was already broken. If you are worried about balance, then you can just simply set the features of these weapons to only work for the new Elite Sanctuary Onslaught I'm suggesting. Anyway, it's not all about the weapons, but all about facing worthy opponents in the game. One way of making loyal, or what we often refer as veteran players to stay and play the game, is by offering something that are both challenging and rewarding. I almost forgot, they can also bring forth special enemies in the revamped Elite Sanctuary Onslaught I'm suggesting. They could always let our friendly neighborhood stalker, or even the three idiots, or much better, Macho Man Wolf of Saturn 6 to come and party on this new game mode. Honestly, Digital Extremes don't need to produce a new content update. There are lots of game modes in the game which only needs little tweaking in order for it to be great. The Elite Sanctuary Onslaught is just one example, and I hope that instead of focusing on making new ones, Digital Extremes will focus first on what they have at the moment. Attracting new players are one heck of a job, and that can only be done by teasing something new and crazy about the game, but the developer must never forget about the fact that keeping veteran players entertained is as important as attracting new ones. For me, the biggest selling point for Warframe was when they released Plains of Eidolon. Some may not like it, but majority of the player base were hooked by the fact that they see something that they never expect Warframe to do. Fans enjoyed something new in the game. They were thrilled of playing Warframe in an open world, and I think that Digital Extremes should do the same on their next big update. I'm not telling them to do another open world, but what I'm asking them is to surprise players. Warframe will never be dead as it's continually evolving, but most of us just don't like where this evolution is taking us. I think it's now time to listen to the community. There's no end in this game, but we need Endgame, something that would make us stay up all night, because we know the fact that it's fun, and it's worth all the grind. Not just Endgame, but an update that could awe both new and veteran players. Something surprising, just like what they did with Plains of Eidolon. But like what I've said earlier, we all need to relax. Warframe is not dead yet. It may be dead to people who doesn't enjoy it, but I assure you, the game is still up and running right now. With a couple of improvements, we will see those number of players peaking in no time. Will Railjack be better? We don't know. Will the next updates be great? We also don't know. Only time will tell, and most probably, it's on the hand of the developers. If they'll manage to pull off something crazy this year, then it will probably silence those angry mobs who are waiting to burn the game down to ashes. If they will listen to the community, and in return, the community will give them some creative criticism, then we could probably work things out. That's the last thing why Warframe will never be dead, because it's full of passionate people who wants to make the game that they enjoy better. In fact, this is one of the most friendly and non-toxic community I have encountered so far in my whole gaming life. So please, stop spreading the fake news that Warframe is dead. You hate it, just don't play it, and come back later if you see something interesting. The fact is, there are some things that the developer needs to improve and change, but that doesn't mean that the game is bad. It's one of the best free-to-play title of all time, and we could possibly be just overreacting. What if Digital Extremes has something in store for us, and all these updates are just bits and pieces, which will lead us to one big fantastic content?